Hi, everybody, and welcome into a special edition episode here of Face the Facts and Bay State Sports Pod, all coming together here to break down today's trade deadline, which is the final trades that need to get made to finalize your roster before the postseason hits for Major League Baseball. Was today at 6 o'clock, and we're here to discuss it with you and give our expertise on where we think the state of the Boston Red Sox is right now. I want to welcome you in. I am Nick. This is Brendan as well, here to our show. Brendan, trade deadline has come and gone again. But the Red Sox did do some things to at least identify some big-time problems that they've had on their roster. So first and foremost, welcome in. And how are we doing tonight?
Nick, happy to be back. Another MLB trade deadline. Definitely happier than last year, that's for sure. They addressed one of their biggest needs, which was really it showed glaring problems following the All-Star break, was the bullpen. This move for Luis Garcia is huge. I think that's a high leverage guy. He's a vet. He has playoff experience. I like that move a lot. And then a lot of it was the Rule 5 guys. These guys had no place. These prospects had no place with the Red Sox going forward, I believe, with Matthew Lugo and Nick York. Some people feel like we sold high or sold low on some of these guys. Look, it's a scratch ticket for a scratch ticket at the end of the day when it comes to like the Nick York, Quinn Priester trade. I'm fine with it. You're taking from an area of abundance and addressing a need. We'll see what happens with Quinn. We'll see if they can develop him into a starting pitcher for that rotation.
I want to break this down a little bit for all of us too, because I'm sure some people out there are probably saying, what gibberish did you just spew out of your mouth with some of these guys and everything that came down? So we'll go layman's terms for all of us here. I'm going to start from the top, and I want to go with probably at least the biggest name that came to the Red Sox, or at least back to the Red Sox within the past couple days, and that is James Paxton. So James Paxton was DFA'd, which means he was pretty much released from the Dodgers, which was, Brendan, in a way, that was a surprise because he was their most durable pitcher that they've had this season, and that's interesting for the Dodgers to do something like that because, they're the cream of the crop. That's your model franchise right now and how you want to build a team from top to bottom and everything. And they released him, and the Red Sox were able to put together a deal to get Paxton back here to Boston. Does this by any means make me feel better about this rotation? No. Let's be honest here. We had Paxton for a couple years. He was injury prone, but at least he gives you some sort of a veteran type that you know what you're going to get when he goes out there. He's pitching tonight. He's down 1-0 already here in the Mariners game. I do like the fact that this is a lefty, something that the Red Sox lacked quite a bit in their rotation and everything, and I was fine with taking a gamble on that. So that was number one, Paxton. The bigger surprise came a couple days ago as well when the Red Sox put together a deal with the Toronto Blue Jays with catcher Danny Jansen. This was a stunner for me because the Red Sox already had Reese McGuire, who was their backup catcher per se, and he was not having a very good season. The Red Sox put together, I think it was 3 or 4 different prospects that got traded to the division well, not really rival, but in their division. It's kind of rare to see divisional trades and everything that go down. And it was a right-handed bat that Craig Breslow wanted to put here for the Red Sox. Is this an upgrade over McGuire? Yes. Is this a difference maker? Heck no, it's not. Is he a better catcher than McGuire? I mean, apples to oranges maybe a little bit, but this doesn't excite me enough to say, wow, we gave up this much to get Danny Jansen. And by no means am I saying these prospects were going to come up in the league and be anything that the Red Sox parted with from the Blue Jays. You don't know. What I do know, Brendan, is there was a lot more to the story that happened in Colorado this past week with McGuire. I don't know how much
I heard
you
about.
heard. I don't know how much has actually been told by our lovely media. And you know how I am. I can't stand the fake news and all these media people who don't give you the exact information. So there was an altercation in Colorado that involved Reese McGuire from his past history. I'm not getting nasty here on this podcast and this show, but if you want to Google up whatever the heck was going on with Reese McGuire, go right ahead. But we're not going to discuss the past here. What I am going to discuss is there was more to the story that went down with the altercation in Colorado than is being told to all of us here. And that right there, Brendan, tells me all I need to know on why Reese McGuire is out of here. I think the Red Sox have had enough. He came with baggage before with the White Sox, and I think this pretty much told Breslow and management enough is enough. This is a bad look for our team. Get rid of him. And I think that in a way was what happened here. Truth be told.
Yeah, I mean, he brought too much negativity for what he brings to the team positively.
Baggage.
Like he has a lot behind him, and things like it escalated in Colorado more than just what you saw on TV, and that I understand why they would turn away from. An interesting fact that I found out today, actually, in the game that got suspended that I was at, that rained out, Danny Jansen was at the plate for Toronto in a 2-1 count. So when they resume play, I only imagine he will be at bat, and then he'll be, after that at bat, he'll be back on the Red Sox. I don't know how that works, but I found that out today.
That is interesting, but I do think they have to use a pinch hitter in that role because he's no longer part of the team.
Is it with
Say
the
it
same,
again?
Is it with the same count, the same 2-1 count?
Yep, it's the same 2-1 count, but you have to, it's like getting hurt in an at-bat. So you make a swing or you foul off a ball and you can't continue. So it will be another person that will be in that spot for him. That is kind of interesting. You don't see that often from everything.
I'll be at that game. I have the tickets for it.
I like the move. Again, and you hear how I'm saying it. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
The next domino that fell, which was yesterday, I want to make sure we, identify all these moves here. The next domino that fell was kind of a head scratcher in a way, but again, it's like flipping a quarter or flipping a coin. It's one team now has Nick York, who was a name that was a prospect, everything building up maybe some value in the prospect, hierarchy and everything, but never had a clear role on this team. You and I have talked about this. They dealt Nick York over to the Pittsburgh Pirates for a 23-year-old right-hander named Quinn Priester, who is been kind of up and down throughout his career. He's had much better numbers, obviously, with AAA. In AAA this season, he's got a 3.21 ERA with a 2.85 whip with a 9.6 strikeout per 9 innings to his name right there for his AAA numbers, at least. I think the move was made more so to look at the future here, to give them another arm that they could potentially work with. And Andrew Bailey is going to have some work to do here with our new addition here named Quinn Priester. I'm not looking for this player to do anything with this team right now.
Yeah,
at least the major league team.
He'll be in Worcester, and then maybe you'll look into him making a crack at the rotation in the off season to next spring. It was time to move on from Nick York. Okay, a lot of people, he was on the face of this rebuild. What was his actual value? It was
didn't have one
ticket pitcher in Worcester. The people were way too attached to this kid, Nick York. He could not crack the big league team after 4 years. He's in a Rule 5 situation right now. David Hamilton is a beast right now. Christian Campbell in Portland right now is playing his way up to be the second baseman of the future with Mayer at shortstop. Like, look, it was time to move on from Nick York. People were way too attached to him. This was a good move. People thought they could have got more. Nick York wasn't that good. All right, he was just bill of goods for you as a prospect. So I'm fine.
You know what I can't stand a lot, Brendan, and I've said this quite a bit over the times that we've been together. I can't stand attachment to prospects.
It's crazy.
Obviously, there's some that you like Roman Anthony, and everybody was freaking out a little bit today when I think it was Morosi tweeted that he's been scratched. He's not in the lineup. Well, that was just a day off. So everybody was like, oh, Vladdy Guerrero, he's coming to town. Here we go. And no, it had nothing to do with that. Obviously, Mayer is another name that's in that hierarchy right now of pretty much untouchable. And then our catcher, what's his name again? Kyle Teal is another one that I would say is my three that it would take quite a bit to probably have to part with that. But I got to tell you, Brendan, after that, I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
Prospects are prospects. You trade them to win at your major league club. That's what you do. You follow the Dave Dombrowski school. Are these guys really going to impact my team? Or am I going to just trade them off and help me win, some postseason games or maybe a World Series? That model needs to be used here again. So that, to me, with any sort of a trade that was here with the Nick York, with the Quinn Priester, Priester's probably not going to be anybody. I want to just be flat out honest here. He probably isn't. So we'll see what happens with it. Now, let's go to today. The first move that came was Lucas Sims, a right-handed reliever. And you and I knew, and so many other people out there, that we were screaming from the rooftops for some bullpen arms. Because this Red Sox bullpen right now, as is the worst bullpen I have seen since I was 7 years old. And that was the 1997 Red Sox with John Wasden, Rolando Arrojo, Heathcliff Slocum, that crew. Steve Avery, that junk. Nobody couldn't trust the thing. Well, that's how I am right now. I don't even trust Kenley Jansen, truthfully, right now. I don't trust Winkowski. I don't trust Berardino. They've all been exposed, every one of them. And the reason that they've been exposed is because we do not have, obviously, Chris Martin that's there. Chris Martin is your eighth inning guy, and he's been out. He's got some mental things going on, and we're hopeful that he gets back before the season ends. I do also want to make sure, and I am not trying to crap on anybody's party here from everything, but if you people out there who are thinking that Justin Slayton is going to be the next Mike Timlin, need to chill out.
Oh, yeah.
Chill out. Or the next Junichi Tazawa. Or the next, who else was another great eighth inning guy? Alan Embry. Any of those guys. Okay. Slow your roll. Slow your freaking roll. We need to see this guy even come back healthy. Never mind, put him in the circle of trust. It's ridiculous. So, Lucas Sims, let's talk about him first, was brought in from the Cincinnati Reds. Just so we know, he has some really kind of eye-opening splits between his home and road. So home in Cincinnati, he's got a .83 ERA with a 1.92 batting average against and a .92 whip. On the road, Brendan, which scares me, he has just about an 8 ERA with a 3.21 batting average and a 2.20 whip. Yikes.
Yeah, that is
not good.
No. I saw that overall, I think it's 357. And I mean they're attacking one of their biggest needs, he is not going to be the Chris Martin setup. He'll probably be like a seventh guy, maybe a sixth guy, every other night. He's a decent move. I mean, you didn't give up crazy amount. I think you moved a couple prospects. They shipped minor leaguer Ovis Portes to Cincinnati. Yeah, no one knows. You know what I mean? So why not? I'm pretty sure he's a Greenville kid. So just take a shot on a bullpen arm, develop him. I mean, they know how to develop the pitchers. They just got to figure this kid out. I don't hate it. I just think you got to.
Yeah, I don't hate this either. And the other thing about him, I want to make sure people know, is he's 30 years old. This season, with his combined between his road and home splits, he's got a 3.57 ERA with a 1.41 WHIP in 43 appearances. So that's 35 innings overall so far this season. The biggest thing with him is he induces a lot of weak contact. So that really helps, specifically if you can just get the job done. Doesn't have to be, the 96 mile an hour blazing fastball to get people out. If this guy can pitch to contact and get people out in whatever way they can, that's huge.
The double play ball, and trust the infield.
Great to see.
Like the defense has improved from last year. I mean, that bullpen this year had a 5.50 something ERA. Like, it was bad. And it would blow a lot of games. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A couple of heroic performances when everyone was healthy, but they need to attack the bullpen, and this is a good start. Lucas Sims.
To keep it with the L's for the name, this one isn't Lucas Garcia. This is Luis Garcia, a veteran of over 10 plus years here in the league. He is a right-handed pitcher. He came from the Angels. This was the buzzer beater move that the Red Sox made. I know Brendan and I and Pat were going back and forth. Oh, they're making one more move. And I'm like, no, don't even believe it. This guy comes with a track record, a pretty much proven track record, and he has postseason experience, which is good. This season, he's playing for the LA Angels for his second tour. He's got a 3.71 ERA with a 1.17 WHIP. He's got 40 strikeouts, 14 walks, and 45 appearances, and he's thrown 43 innings this season. He's a big-time depth piece here. He debuted with the Phillies way back in 2013, and he's been around the block with, he's been with the Rangers, the Cardinals, the Padres, and again, this is his second time that he was with the Angels this season. The Red Sox parted with a series of prospects for their, this may be the biggest steep price that they paid from this. Nobody that's super notable, truthfully. These are a lot more lower single A kind of guys, but Ryan Zafarjan, never really heard of him from before. Matthew Lugo, Jefferson Vargas, and Nico Cavadas. That is the names that went to the Angels. 4 guys to get this guy, which is kind of the cost of doing business right now in Major League Baseball. So that is what we have to report for the deals that were done here with the deadline. Now it comes for our deep dive analysis here, where we get to grade Craig Breslow and the Red Sox and where we felt the Red Sox or how they did for this deadline. So Brendan, A, B, C, D, F. Where do they do? How did they do? Give us the nitty gritty.
I got to give the Red Sox a B for this trade deadline. A lot of people might say that, the prospect, there's got to be a new name for the bloomers or whatever, but the prospect kids that are obsessed with the upside, they'll be very upset because you gave up, I think 5 guys in the top 30. But there's 9 positions. They keep forgetting this. And I think you had to move on from a lot of these guys. I kept talking about the flood up the middle. Lugo and York are 2 Rule 5 shortstop, second baseman. We already have our guys in Portland, and then on the big league team right now, there is no room for them, for these 2 kids that got traded. I like the Quinn Priester move. I think he's the youngest pitcher they have in their system right now at 23. There's a lot of time to develop him with Richard Fitz down there. But I think the Luis Garcia move is a game changer. I think that solidifies that bullpen. He's 5-1 on the year. That moves the needle for me. I can't give them an A. I can't give them an A because there were right-handed bats that were available in Oakland, in Toronto, that were not acquired. But look, I knew they were going to be steep prices, but prices that could have got it. Brent Rooker would have taken, I think I saw it was Christian Campbell and then Wilyer Abreu. and that would have been A plus. You've done it, you know.
3-run home run for Rafi Devers. For those that are watching the game, it's now 3-1. Red Sox against the Mariners. It's the first time we've actually been able to interrupt anybody and just, hey, here's the score. Kind of
cool. But yeah, I give them a B. I give them a B. They addressed the bullpen. The bullpen was a glaring need, especially going, I think we said 3-7 coming out of the All-Star break. A lot of that was the bullpen. The bullpen was falling off a cliff.
Atrocious. Yeah.
And they have upgraded. They've upgraded in a big way with guys with experience. So I like it. I like it. Could be better, but it was good. It was good. It's a good.
Yep, I'm in the B range too. I just go a tad under it. I go B-.
Okay.
I think they didn't make the sexy move. They made moves that were more household, kind of taking care of chores kind of thing. They knew they needed to improve some way, somehow. They figured it out. I give them credit here. And we didn't get bloomed again. We did not get bloomed. Craig Breslow actually did some work here to improve this team. Can't say that for the past, 3 seasons or so? 2 seasons or whatever it was. 2022 and 2023 trade deadline were disgusting. So 2021, of course, the Red Sox are going to the playoffs and everything, and they improved a little bit there. My biggest thing too here is, yes, you improved the bullpen here, but I'm kind of, with the price that was out there on some of these names and everything, I'm kind of stunned that the Red Sox didn't entertain names. Like, I even told you guys in the group chat last night, I go, Nick Pivetta is a name. And this guy doesn't have a contract next season. You could have sold real high on this. Nick Pivetta is like Jekyll and Hyde. Some nights he's great. Some nights he absolutely stinks.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a desperate team out there that needed something there. I would have absolutely entertained that. I would have absolutely entertained Kenley Jansen. I would have. You got Lamb Hendricks that is going to be here very shortly. That's another name that's going to get out of this bullpen if he comes back from that Tommy John surgery and everything healthy. I'm not saying that Kenley isn't fine to have in this team, but he also is getting exposed. And I think that once this tour is done here for Boston, I think it's time to part ways in a way and say goodbye from it. He's very Craig Kimbrell-esque. You never know. He's a heart attack closer. You never know what you're going to get each time he's out there. So I would have entertained what maybe that would have looked like. Another name that was out there that was rumored to be a name that the Red Sox are entertaining was Yoshida. Yoshida's bat is definitely picked up here a little bit, but they didn't find a taker again here. I was also surprised the Red Sox didn't do something with Justin Turner. I was. That would have been nice to see him come back here. Justin Turner got the first run tonight for the Seattle Mariners. I think the reason Justin Turner isn't here is because they feel that Tristan Casas will be back and will be back sooner rather than later now.
Yeah.
Because that would have been the move to help address that right-handed bat that they've so desperately needed.
Yeah, and Casas is rehabbing with Worcester, I believe, this week. He's in a game in Worcester, so that must have been a big reason why. But you're right. They need the right-handed guy to platoon, like a right-handed DH, Justin Turner, platoon with Yoshida for when the lefty pitcher shows up. They didn't do that. That's a big reason why it's still just a B, because they can't hit left-handed pitching. And yeah, Danny Jansen might be all right, but you upgrade a backup catcher. That's what Danny Jansen. He's a backup catcher. They cannot hit the lefties. It's Rob Refsnyder carrying the team against a lefty. You know what I mean?
And then I think we're going to start to see a little bit more play of Romy Gonzalez too with lefties and everything. But pretty much when the Red Sox face a left-handed pitcher, Yoshida's not going to do anything. Dom Smith isn't going to do anything. Wilyer Abreu is not good against left-handed pitching. Jarren Duran is hit or miss depending upon the situation. Devers too. It's you don't know what you're going to get at times from this.
They struggle.
So if Rob Refsnyder is your big thumper with left-handed pitching, you're in deep trouble there, and they did nothing to improve that. The other thing I wanted to mention too here, Brendan, is yes, Paxton is back, but I am concerned on the innings for Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford in particular here. The rotation has holes in it right now. They still do not have that number one. Tanner Houck is not a one. Brian Bayo is not a one. Cutter Crawford is not a one. They have a bunch of low three-ish, high 4-5 guys getting it done right now. And in all fairness, I don't think that's going to cut it if this team gets to the playoff run and everything. So they didn't really do anything on that, and that's probably why Pavetta's still here.
Yeah.
Case in point, because they need somebody who's got a rubber arm, and at least we know Nick Pivetta does have it, whether it's on or off. He does have a rubber arm.
Can throw it. And you were wondering about why Paxton got DFA'd. The Dodgers ended up getting Jack Flaherty, so I'm wondering if that was part of their plans. I know the Sox were in on Flaherty. They couldn't get it done. That was a guy I wanted. But, you know, they didn't get the starter. Like, they needed a starter, but they didn't get it. They have guys that kind of work. Criswell, like, these guys are okay, but good teams will expose them. So, I mean, especially Houck and Crawford are hitting the wall. Right? That they can make adjustments, but we'll see. You know, coming out of All-Star break, they have been shaky.
So as Brendan said, the Red Sox are 3-7 coming out of the break for the All-Star break. Not very good. We've seen a lot of the bullpen exposed. The offense, for the most part, I haven't had really any issues with. I mean, last night was a big win against the Mariners with the bats and everything. It's going to be pitching. It's going to be pitching to figure out how far this team truly is going to go. Because I think they'll get by with what they have with the bats, so long as we don't face a left-handed pitcher every night. But I think overall it's going to be a better August than we've seen the past 2 years. So that should keep the Red Sox in contention. I'm not saying they're a playoff team. I can't say that right now because I still need to see what happens here with some of these names. Your Lucas Sims, the Luis Garcias, if Liam Hendricks is able to come back, if Chris Martin comes back, if we see Justin Slayton get added in. Now that you have those names and everything from that pen, and those guys are all healthy and can be productive, that will be a very solid crew out there in the pen if everything goes right, and we need it to go right. So right now the Red Sox are up 3-1 against the Mariners. You know, Paxton's on the hill and everything, but we wanted to be with you to break down this trade deadline and everything. We're glad we were able to see some moves made by Craig Breslow and the team. Any final thoughts before we wrap, Brendan? Oh, Brendan froze up. So Brendan does not have any chance to do a final thoughts from everything. So for all of us here, this is Nick signing off. Thanks for watching another episode of Face the Facts and Bay State Sports Pod. We will see you all real soon.